Hello. So today I want to show some of the things that I got new and some of the things that I have decluttered recently. And I want to take you through the process and talk a little bit about every item. A water bottle. I have this glass water bottle and it had a bamboo cap, or at least so I thought. The bamboo came loose and fell off, and underneath it was just plastic with glue on it. Luckily, it was a universal size cap, so I just bought another bottle with a stainless steel cap, and this one fits both bottles. So now I have 2 water bottles and 1 cap, but that's actually fine because I don't have to wash it every day, and I can just use the other bottle. For a second, I thought about gluing the bamboo back on, but something about having glue on a bottle cap just didn't sit right with me. I think it might come loose after washing it and things like that, so I'd rather not do it. I think this is actually a good example of greenwashing. Products that look environmentally friendly, but it's mostly just branding and appearance. Loose wooden slat. I have these slats on my window, and there was this one loose wooden slat underneath them. It had just been sitting there all this time, and somehow I kept it because I thought it might have a purpose or that I might need it one day, but I don't, and it just collects dust. So it's time to let it go. And I hope that in the future when I move, I'll only have curtains, also blackout curtains, because I find these window slats really difficult to clean, while you can just throw curtains in the washing machine. So that would be so much easier for me. Radiator, humidifiers. The previous renter of this place left these here, and I'll be honest, I completely forgot about them behind the radiator. I love the simplicity of them, but somehow I find it difficult to think about having to refill them with water. It's just another step in my household routine. I think I'll keep them in the maybe pile and give them one more year. So I have a pile for things that I can let go of, and I divide them in recycling, donating, selling, and so forth. And I also have a pile for maybe, which I keep a little bit longer to make decisions about it. And the previous renter kept them behind the radiator, which is definitely the nicest option aesthetically, but out of sight is out of mind for me. So I'm going to try placing them in front of the radiator, and maybe that will make it easier to remember to refill them. And I really want to make it work, especially for my pet rabbit. I just want him to be as comfortable as possible. The air does get very dry in the winter, so I think these would definitely help. I just don't like the extra step, but I still like this idea a lot more than having a machine or a device, so I'll give it one more chance. Then I go to pet supplies. Even though I know that none of my pets have ever really been very impressed by pet toys or pet products, every now and then I still try something just in case they change their minds. So I bought this plush ball that was advertised specifically for rabbits. And to be fair, rabbits sometimes do like to chase balls around, but Laudier didn't pay any attention to it. I also bought a special rabbit cushion bed. I think it's called a flop bed, where rabbits like to flop down and relax. But again, Laudier wasn't impressed. And even without bed, he likes to flop anyway. So I'm still thinking about what to do. I'll either bring these to an animal shelter together and maybe buy some extra food, or I'll just list them for free online and someone can pick it up. Expired pet food supplement. And this was a food supplement, but the package has been open for quite a while, so I'm throwing it away and I have bought a new one. I just don't want to take any risk with his health, and especially now that he's a senior. Rabbits sometimes stop eating, which can be very dangerous for them, so that's why it's important to keep this around. But I still need to replace it in time after it's been opened for a while. Battery candle. one of my battery operated candles stopped working, and I've been thinking about taking it to a repair cafe and trying to fix it because I'm trying to repair more things from now on. But I still have 2 left and they came in a pack of 3, and I think that that is actually enough for me. So I'll just bring this one to the recycling bin. New headphones. I bought new headphones a while ago because of my job. I just bought a very cheap pair because I know that I won't be using them anywhere else. And I first wanted to try it out if it's something for me. They're mostly just for the noise cancellation. And I'm immediately getting rid of the manuals. I always take a quick look through them first, just to see if there's anything important or something that's a bit counterintuitive. Otherwise, I remove the staples and put them straight into the paper recycling. Bank scanner. This was a device that I use for online banking. Sometimes you had to use it to sign transactions or when making larger purchases. Nowadays, most things are done with a code, but sometimes they still ask for one of these. Unfortunately, neither of mine works anymore. I had 2 of them just in case one stopped working and I really needed it for something. I actually saw that happen quite often when I worked at the bank, but somehow both of them stopped working. I know the bank likes to collect the old ones because they recycle and reuse the chip, so I'll bring them back there. And of course, I'll take the batteries out first. Sometimes I wonder where all my empty batteries come from, but it's usually things like this and bicycle lights or car keys and just those kind of small things that I use on a daily basis. And I will see if there is something I can do with only using my code for online banking, but I'm afraid that I would first need this device to sign it up. But I will take a look at it and see if there is now an option not to use it anymore. Otherwise, I will have to buy a new one. I also have an analog alarm clock. I'm not sure if I've shown it in one of my previous in and out videos yet, but I've had it for a while now, and I have to get up quite early for work, and I just feel a little more relaxed when I have 2 alarm clocks set. Expired medicine. I also had some expired pet medicine. It's time to let it go. After a while, it's just not as effective anymore, so there's no point in keeping it forever. I also had some medicine for myself. A couple months ago I had an ear infection, and unfortunately this medicine didn't work very well either. It actually burned the skin around my ears and it was very aggressive. But I think that my ear infection is mostly gone now. And even so, I think this is expired anyway, so time to let it go. At the pharmacy they have a special box where people can put old or unused medicine and also pet medicine, so I will bring it there. A leftover varnish. I bought this varnish a while ago for the mirror restoration project that I did. It's quite a while ago, but I only needed a tiny amount and I just kept it in my closet. But why actually? Because I'm not going to use it anymore. So I've listed it online and maybe someone can come and pick it up for free if they want to, and otherwise I'll have to bring it to the recycling center. I usually go there once a year or something. I collect a couple of things that I need to bring there and then I'll just go once a year or something. My doubt category. And I have a category of doubt and this large glass jar. I used to keep my soap nuts in it that I used to do my laundry, but I haven't used them for quite a while because they are a bit more effort to use than just regular laundry detergent. I would like to use them again eventually, so I'm really still not sure what to do. Doubting whether I actually will use the soap nuts again. Things really changed in terms of my energy levels after I lost so many pets in a row, and I was in a bit of a spiral for a while. And even though I feel a lot better now, it's still never really been the same since, I feel. And I'm still not really sure if I ever will fully recover mentally. I'm also at a point where I don't really like rebuying things, and it's just a couple of things that I'm decluttering anyway. So for now, I'll keep this in my maybe pile and give myself a couple of months to see if I will like using soap nuts again. They just take a little bit more effort to use, and that's why I'm still undecided. Another thing in the doubt category are these measuring cups. I also had these measuring cups, and somehow I think there was still some water on them when I stored them and they started to rust. I really dislike the idea of throwing away items that are still good, especially at this stage in my minimalism journey, where it's more about maintenance than doing a full declutter. Now that I've reached this point, I try to be much more mindful. I don't want to make unnecessary mistakes and end up buying things again. And these are things that I did use, but that at this point I'm just not sure about them anymore. So I'll give it a little bit of extra time in this case. I know that I used to say that I didn't really mind if that happened occasionally, and for the occasional items I still don't, but nowadays I do keep the environmental impacts in the back of my mind much more. And after I read the book Your Money or Your Life, it really changed the way I looked at minimalism. Thanks so much for the recommendation of this book that I received in my reactions. I really love this book so much. Now I'm much more hesitant to buy new things and even to spend money in general, which I actually think is a good thing. It felt like the missing piece in my minimalism journey. Getting rid of things is one thing, but after that, trying to reduce the number of things coming in and becoming more aware of money and life energy, that adds a whole new dimension for me, and it feels better this way for me. It feels a bit more whole. I was also looking for something that could really flip a switch in my head, something that could change one of my core beliefs, and this book really did that. And so I tried to clean the measuring cups up, and I suspect that the rust came from the ring that holds them together. And I think that the cups themselves are made from stainless steel, and the rust also spilled into the basket that I kept them in, and so I also needed to clean that. I threw away the metal ring and I will keep the measuring cups for now, and I also cleaned the basket, so I will still keep it, and I will see if that was the problem. If there will be rust on them again in the future, I will let them go. Because of food safety, of course, but I'll first try this. Broken light bulb, and I had to replace a light bulb in the bathroom. So this broken one can go, and of course I bought a new one because it's difficult without light in the bathroom. I usually keep electronics, light bulbs, battery, and things like that until I have a small pile, and then I'll bring everything to the recycling bin at once. Luckily for these smaller items, it's quite easy because there are recycling boxes at a lot of grocery stores and other shops. Herb jars. I had these little jars for my herbs and I really liked them, but the problem was that they were so small. Every time I bought a new package of herbs, it wouldn't all fit in a jar, so I'd end up with both the jar and the original plastic bag or container in my kitchen, which basically doubled the amount of stuff. I like to get some larger ones if I ever come across them, or maybe just use regular jars with a small spoon or something. And I sold these for a small price on Vinted. I mostly do that because I don't want decluttering to feel too easy. It makes me think twice before I buy something new. I'm now at a stage in my minimalism journey where decluttering isn't overwhelming anymore. It's mostly just maintenance or little touch-ups, so time-wise I can afford to make it a little bit more complicated. I also just want to make better decisions so that in the long run there will be even less decluttering and maintenance to do. Jar lids and bicycle lights. I used to keep a couple of extra jar lids because some of the jars had broken, but the lids were still fine. and I just used them as a coaster and just in case I would need an extra lid for the jar. But then my mother gave me these marble coasters and I really like them. So I don't think that there's any reason to keep all of these extra jar lids anymore. Maybe just one extra just to be sure. I also had 2 bicycle lights that weren't working. First I tried replacing the batteries and one of them worked again with a new battery, but the other one was really difficult to open and the plastic broke while I was trying. It would probably still work, but now there's quite a large gap in the casing, and I don't think that rainwater and batteries are a very good combination, so I'll just consider it broken and bring it to the recycling bin as well. A new fan. Another thing that I bought was a fan. Personally, I would rather not buy one. I don't really mind a little bit of seasonal discomfort or just getting through the hottest days. Somehow it makes me feel more alive. I think small amounts of seasonal discomfort are what creates memories. They change your perception of time somehow, not in a moment but afterwards. If it's only for a day or 2, 3 maybe, I usually just try to endure the heat. But when it lasts longer, it does become more difficult. And the main reason I bought it was because I'm worried about my rabbit, especially now that he's a senior and I want him to be as comfortable as possible. And having said that, I was actually very happy that I had it during the long heat wave a couple weeks ago. So looking back, maybe some things are worth buying, even if you only use them a couple times a year. So these were just some of the things that I bought new or that I got rid of or that I'm still doubting about. And it's a collection of, I think, more than 6 months or so, and some of the things maybe even longer. I hope that you enjoyed seeing this process, and thanks so much for watching. See you next time.